My own father texted me, "Have fun walking home, loser." Then he canceled my ticket and left me alone at an airport at 3 in the morning. He thought I had nothing. He thought I was nobody. He thought I would break. But he didn't know that the daughter he threw away was the one person who could have saved him. 20 miles, bloody feet. No one coming for me. No one ever comes for me. But by the time he finds out the truth, I won't need him anymore. And that is what truly breaks my heart. Amelia, that's my name. Amelia Rose Parker. But you can call me Amelia. Everyone does, except my dad. He calls me problem child, disappointment, and, as of about 45 minutes ago, loser. I'm sitting on a cold, plastic chair in gate B-17 of Chicago O'Hare International Airport. It's 3 in the morning. The lights are too bright, the floor is sticky with someone else's spilled soda, and my eyes are dry from trying not to cry. I'm not crying because I'm sad. I'm crying because I'm so angry that my bones feel like they're on fire. Let me start from the beginning, or maybe from the end of my old life anyway. My name is Amelia, and until today, I was the invisible daughter. The forgotten one, the one my dad, Richard Parker, wished he'd never had. My mom left when I was 6. She said she couldn't breathe in that house. She didn't take me with her. She said I was too much like him. So I stayed. And for 16 years, I was the ghost in the corner of the Parker mansion. We weren't poor. Oh no, the Parkers were rich, old money. The kind of money that buys you silence, respect, and a 5-car garage. My dad is a real estate mogul. My older brother, Chad, is his golden boy. Chad breathes and my dad gives him a bonus. Chad sneezes and my dad buys him a new car, me. I once got a C in math, and my dad took my bedroom door off its hinges. He said, "If you can't do anything right, you don't deserve privacy." My stepmom, Vanessa, was worse. She wasn't evil like a movie villain. She was evil like a slow poison. She'd smile at me in front of guests and call me dear. Then, when no one was looking, she'd whisper, "You're just a placeholder, Amelia. A mistake your father can't erase." My brother Chad. He learned from the best. He called me freak, mistake, and the walking embarrassment. He once pushed me down the stairs when I was 12 because I asked to watch TV in the living room. I broke my wrist. My dad told the doctors I fell off my bike. That was my family. But here's the thing about being invisible. People forget you're there. They talk in front of you. They leave their phones on the table. They don't lock their office doors. And my dad. He loved to brag. He loved to show off his deals, his power, his money. He'd sit at the dinner table with his rich friends and laugh about the people he'd cheated. "If you're not the hammer," he'd say, "you're the nail." I learned early that the only way to survive was to stay quiet, stay small, and watch. When I was 14, I started making money. Not from my dad, from the internet. I was good at coding. Really good. I'd stay up all night in my dark bedroom, the glow of my laptop the only light, and I'd build little programs. Bots, then bigger things. A security script, then a platform that nobody else had thought of. It was a way to trade digital art and collectibles, but faster, cleaner, and safer than anything out there. I called it Echo. I didn't tell anyone. Not my dad, not Chad, not Vanessa, especially not them. I used a fake name online. R. Rose, just my middle initial and my mom's maiden name. I built it piece by piece, line of code by line of code. And when I was 16, a venture capital firm in Silicon Valley found me. They offered me $50 million for 60% of the company. $50 million. I said yes. The money hit my private bank account 2 weeks ago. I have a financial manager I've never met in person. I have a lawyer who thinks I'm a 40-year-old woman named Rose. I have more zeros in my bank account than I have memories of my mom hugging me, but nobody in my family knew. To them, I was still the loser, the failure, the one who couldn't even get into a good college, which brings me to tonight. Tonight, I was supposed to fly to New York. I had a meeting with my new business partners. I was finally going to tell my dad the truth. I had this stupid, hopeful fantasy in my head. I'd walk into the living room, hand him a check for $10 million, just to show him I wasn't useless, and then I'd leave. I'd get my own apartment, my own life. I'd finally breathe, but I made a mistake. A classic, dumb Amelia mistake. I left my laptop open. Chad saw it. He saw the email from my lawyer. He saw the number, $50 million. He didn't say a word to me. He went straight to Dad. I was packing my suitcase when my father stormed into my room. No knock, no warning, his face was purple, not red, purple. His veins were popping out of his neck like angry worms. "You think you're clever?" he shouted. His spit hit my face. "You think you can hide money from me?" I was frozen. "Dad, I can explain." "Explain what?" He grabbed my laptop off my bed and threw it against the wall. It shattered into 100 pieces. "That you stole from me, that you're a thief." "I didn't steal anything," I said. My voice was shaking. "I built it myself. With my own." "You built nothing," he roared. "You are nothing, you are a Parker. Everything you have belongs to this family. That money is mine. Do you hear me? Mine." Vanessa appeared in the doorway, smirking. Chad leaned against the wall behind her, arms crossed, smiling like he'd just won a prize. "I called the bank," my dad said, calmer now, which was somehow scarier. "I told them you're a minor, that any accounts in your name are under my control. They're freezing everything as we speak." My heart stopped. "You can't do that." "I just did." He walked to my suitcase and unzipped it. He pulled out my clothes, my phone charger, my toothbrush, and threw them on the floor. "You're not going to New York. You're not going anywhere. You're going to stay in this house until you sign over every single share of that company to me." "No," I whispered. "No," he laughed. It was a horrible, cold sound. "You have no power here, Amelia. You have nothing. I gave you a roof. I gave you food, and this is how you repay me, by hiding money from your own father." I looked at Chad. He was still smiling. I looked at Vanessa. She was filing her nails. That's when something inside me snapped. Not broke. Snapped. Like a rubber band that had been stretched too far for 16 years. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I looked my father right in the eye and I said, "You're wrong." He blinked. "What?" I said, "You're wrong." I picked up my broken laptop. Pieces of glass and plastic fell to the carpet. "That money isn't in a bank account you can touch. It's in a trust, an irrevocable trust. My lawyer set it up the day I turned 18, which was last week. Happy birthday to me." His face went white. "You're lying. Call your banker friend," I said. "Ask him if he can touch a single cent. Go ahead." He pulled out his phone. His fingers were shaking. He made a call. I watched his face change from angry purple to confused white to shocked gray. He hung up without saying a word. "You little," he started. "I'm leaving," I said. I grabbed my purse. That was all I needed. My passport, my phone, and a credit card that wasn't connected to him. "I'm getting on that plane and I'm never coming back." "If you walk out that door," he said, his voice low and dangerous, "you walk out with nothing. No money from me, no inheritance, no family, you're dead to us." "I've been dead to you since I was 6, I said, and I walked out. I drove to the airport in an Uber. I didn't look back. I didn't cry. I felt free. For the first time in my life, I felt like I could breathe, but I should have known my dad wasn't done. I got to the airport. I went to check in for my flight. The woman at the counter typed my name. Then she typed it again. Then she frowned. "I'm sorry, Miss Parker," she said. "Your ticket has been canceled." "What?" I said. "That's impossible. I booked it myself." "It was canceled 30 minutes ago," she said, "by the cardholder, a Mr. Richard Parker." Of course he did. He couldn't touch my 50 million, but he could touch my plane ticket. He could touch my phone plan. He could touch everything else. He wanted to trap me. He wanted me to come crawling back. I sat down in the plastic chair at gate B-17. I put my head in my hands, and then my phone buzzed. It was a text from my dad. "Have fun walking home, loser." I stared at those words for a long time. My fingers were cold. My chest was tight. I could feel the tears burning behind my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. Not yet. "Have fun walking home, loser." That was it. That was the final word from my father. Not "I love you," not "come back," not even "you're grounded." Just a sneer, a digital slap in the face. I looked around the airport. It was almost empty. A janitor was mopping the floor. A security guard was yawning. A family with 3 small kids was sleeping on a pile of backpacks. Normal people. Normal lives, and me, I was 18 years old. I had $50 million in an untouchable trust. I had no plane ticket, no car, no home, and no family, except I had something my dad didn't know about, something Chad didn't see in that email, something Vanessa never bothered to learn because she never cared enough to ask. The $50 million wasn't just money. It was a key. You see, when I built Echo, I didn't just build a platform. I built a network of people who believed in me, people I'd never met in person but who had my back, people who, unlike my family, actually saw me. One of those people was a man named Samuel. Samuel was my mentor, an old programmer who lived in Montana. He taught me everything I knew. And a few months ago, before he died, he gave me something, a file, a digital envelope. He said, "Open this only when you have nowhere else to go." I had never opened it. I was too proud, too stubborn. I wanted to prove I could do it on my own. But now I was sitting in an airport at 3 in the morning with a canceled ticket and a text from my dad calling me a loser. I opened the file. It was a video. Samuel's face appeared on my phone screen. He looked old and tired and kind. His voice was soft, like a grandfather's. "Amelia," he said, "if you're watching this, I'm sorry. It means the people who were supposed to love you let you down." Again, I smiled through the tears. He always knew. "But here's the thing," he continued. "You're not alone. You never were. I set up something for you, a backup plan, a safe house. Actually, not a house, a lot of houses. Remember that project we talked about? The one you thought was just a game?" I remembered. Samuel had this crazy idea. He wanted to buy up old motels across the country and turn them into shelters for runaway kids. Kids like me, kids with no home. He said it was his life's dream. I thought he was just an old man with big ideas. "I bought them," Samuel said. 47 motels, all in your name, all paid for. And the best part, your father can't touch them. They're not in a bank, they're not in a trust. They're just yours. You own them, Amelia. Every single one, including the one in Chicago. The old Sunset Motor Lodge on Route 66. It's about 20 miles from the airport. 20 miles. Go there, Samuel said. It's yours, and Amelia, don't walk. You don't have to walk anywhere. You have wings. You just forgot how to fly. The video ended. I sat there. The airport lights buzzed overhead. A janitor's mop squeaked on the floor. And I laughed. I laughed so hard that the security guard looked at me like I was crazy. I laughed until tears streamed down my face. My dad texted me, "Have fun walking home, loser." He didn't know I owned 47 motels. He didn't know I had $50 million. He didn't know that I had just inherited a network of shelters for kids who had nowhere to go. He didn't know that the loser he'd spent 16 years trying to break was actually the richest person in the family. Not in money, in something better, in freedom. I stood up. I wiped my face. I pulled out my phone and texted my dad back, just 3 words, "Thanks for the walk." Then I turned off my phone. I walked out of the airport. The Chicago air was cold and sharp. The sky was dark. But somewhere in the distance, I could see the lights of the old Sunset Motor Lodge. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a plane ticket. But I had 2 feet. I had 20 miles. And I had a new life waiting for me at the end of the road. So I started walking. The first mile was the hardest. My shoes weren't made for walking. They were cheap flats I'd bought at a mall clearance rack. By the time I reached the airport exit ramp, my left heel was already blistering. The wind was bitter. I didn't have a jacket. My dad had thrown my clothes on the floor, and in my rush to leave, I'd only grabbed my purse. I walked past gas stations and fast food restaurants. I walked under highway overpasses where homeless people slept in cardboard boxes. I looked at them, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel sorry for them. I felt like them. I was them. Just a girl with no home walking into the dark. But I wasn't them. Not really, because I had something they didn't. I had a destination. Mile 2, my feet hurt, my back hurt. My phone was off, but I could feel it in my pocket, heavy and dark. I wanted to turn it on. I wanted to see if my dad had texted again. I wanted to see if Chad was gloating. But I didn't. I kept walking. Mile 3. A police car slowed down next to me. The officer rolled down his window. He was a big man with a mustache and tired eyes. "You okay, miss?" he asked. "It's 4 in the morning. You shouldn't be out here alone." "I'm fine," I said. "Just walking." "Where to?" "The Sunset Motor Lodge," I said. He frowned. "That place is abandoned, has been for years." I smiled. "Not anymore." He looked at me like I was crazy. Maybe I was, but he didn't push. He just nodded and drove away. That was the thing about being invisible. People looked right through you. Mile 4. The sun started to rise. The sky turned pink and orange. It was beautiful. I hadn't seen a sunrise in years. In my dad's house, I stayed in my room with the curtains drawn. I didn't want to see the light. I didn't think I deserved it. But this sunrise was for me, just me. Mile 5. My right ankle started to swell. I sat on a bus bench for 10 minutes. I took off my shoes. My socks were bloody. I laughed again. Bloody socks. A canceled ticket. A text from my dad calling me a loser. And yet, I had never felt more alive. Mile 6. A homeless man offered me half a sandwich. He was old, with a gray beard and no teeth. His name was Jerry. He said he'd been on the streets for 12 years. He said his daughter stopped visiting him after he lost his job. "You got somewhere to go?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "I own a motel." He laughed. "Sure you do, sweetheart." I didn't argue, I just took the sandwich. It was peanut butter and jelly, squished and warm. It was the best thing I'd ever tasted. Mile 7. I thought about my mom. I wondered where she was. I wondered if she ever thought about me. I wondered if she knew I was walking down a highway in Chicago with bloody feet and $50 million in a bank account she'd never see. Probably not. She was good at not seeing things. Mile 8. A truck driver pulled over. He was a big guy with a kind face and a tattoo of an eagle on his arm. He said his name was Big Mike. "Where you headed, little lady?" he asked. "Sunset Motor Lodge," I said. "That's a long walk," he said. "Hop in, I'll take you." I almost said yes. My feet were screaming. My legs were shaking. But then I thought about my dad's text. "Have fun walking home, loser." If I got in that truck, he'd be right. I would have given up. I would have taken the easy way. But I wasn't a loser. I wasn't the girl he thought I was. I was the girl who built a $50 million company from her bedroom while he was downstairs drinking whiskey and pretending she didn't exist. "No, thank you," I said. "I need to walk." Big Mike looked at me for a long time. Then he nodded. "You're a tough one," he said. "I like that." He handed me a bottle of water and a granola bar. "Take these, and when you get to that motel, you fix it up real nice, okay?" I nodded. He drove away. I kept walking. Mile 9. The sun was fully up now. The city was waking up. Cars honked. People rushed to work. Nobody looked at me. Nobody saw the girl with bloody feet and a broken heart. I was just another shadow on the sidewalk. But I wasn't a shadow, not anymore. Mile 10, halfway there. I stopped at a public bathroom in a park. I washed my feet in the sink. The water turned pink. I wrapped my socks in paper towels and put my shoes back on. It hurt. Everything hurt, but I didn't stop. Mile 11. I started to cry, not the quiet tears I cried in my room at night. Loud, ugly sobs, the kind that come from your stomach. I cried for the little girl who just wanted her mom to stay. I cried for the teenager who was pushed down the stairs. I cried for all the birthdays my dad forgot, all the dinners I ate alone, all the times I was told I was worthless. And then I stopped crying, because I realized something. I wasn't worthless. I never was. Their cruelty was not my truth. Their silence was not my fault. I was not the problem. They were. Mile 12. A woman walking her dog crossed the street to avoid me. The dog, a golden retriever, wagged its tail and tried to come say hi. The woman yanked the leash. "Don't," she said. "She looks dirty." I looked down at myself. My shirt was wrinkled. My hair was a mess. My shoes were covered in dust and blood. I did look dirty, but I wasn't dirty. I was just walking. Mile 13, I passed a school. Children were getting dropped off in shiny subs. They had backpacks and lunchboxes and parents who kissed them goodbye. I wondered what that felt like, to be kissed goodbye, to have someone who cared if you came home. I would never know, but maybe I could give that to someone else. Maybe that's what Samuel meant. The motels weren't for me. They were for the kids like me, the invisible ones, the forgotten ones. Mile 14, my phone buzzed. I had turned it back on without thinking. It was another text from my dad. "Cold out there? I'm drinking coffee by the fireplace. Vanessa made pancakes. Chad says hi, hope you're enjoying your walk." I stared at the text. My hands shook. I wanted to throw my phone into the street. I wanted to scream. I wanted to call him and say every horrible thing I'd kept inside for 16 years. But I didn't, because I remembered something Samuel told me. The best revenge is not revenge, it's success. Live well. That's how you win. So I texted back, "The sunrise is beautiful, you should see it sometime." Then I turned my phone off again. Mile 15, my legs were numb. I couldn't feel my feet anymore. That was good. Numb was better than pain. I'd been numb for years. This was just more of the same. Mile 16, I saw a sign. Sunset Motor Lodge 4 miles. My heart jumped. 4 miles, just 4 more miles. I could do that. I had done 16, I could do 4 more. Mile 17, the neighborhood changed. The nice houses disappeared. The streets got dirtier. The buildings got older. Graffiti covered the walls. Broken glass sparkled on the sidewalks. This was where Samuel had bought the motel. The forgotten part of town, the part nobody wanted. Perfect. Mile 18, I saw it, in the distance. A faded pink sign with neon letters that had been dead for years. Sunset Motor Lodge. The parking lot was cracked and overgrown with weeds. The building was old, 2 stories, with peeling paint and boarded-up windows. It looked like a ghost. But it was my ghost. Mile 19. I walked through the parking lot. My footsteps echoed on the broken asphalt. A stray cat ran out from under a rusted car. A bird nested in a hole in the roof. Everything was dead and broken and forgotten, just like me. But I was going to change that. I was going to bring this place back to life. And in doing so, I was going to bring myself back to life. Mile 20. I reached the front door. It was locked, but the wood was rotted. I pushed. It creaked open. Inside, it was dark and dusty. The air smelled like mold and old cigarettes. The reception desk was covered in cobwebs. The wallpaper was peeling. The floor tiles were cracked. I walked behind the desk. There was an old register, a phone that didn't work, and a key rack. Dozens of keys hanging on hooks covered in dust. I took one. Room number 1. The key was cold in my hand. I walked down the hallway. My footsteps were loud in the silence. The doors were all closed. The windows were all dark. I reached room 1. I put the key in the lock. It turned with a rusty screech. The door swung open. The room was small. A bed with no sheets, a bathroom with no toilet paper, a window with no glass, but there was a roof over my head, 4 walls around me, and for the first time in my life, a door that nobody could take away. I sat on the bare mattress. I took off my shoes. I looked at my bloody feet. I looked at my dirty clothes. I looked at my cracked phone screen. And I smiled. Then I turned on my phone. I had 47 text messages. Most of them were from my dad, some from Chad, a few from Vanessa. They were all the same. Mean, cruel, laughing at me. But there was one text from a number I didn't recognize. Amelia, this is Carla from the venture capital firm. We heard what happened. The board voted this morning. We're accelerating the funding. The $50 million is yours, no strings. No parents, no problems, call me when you get this. I stared at the text, then I laughed, then I cried, then I laughed again. My dad thought he had won. He thought canceling my ticket and freezing my accounts would break me. He thought I would crawl back to him, begging for forgiveness, ready to sign over my company. But he didn't know. He didn't know about Samuel. He didn't know about the 47 motels. He didn't know about the $50 million that was now, finally, irrevocably, legally mine. He didn't know that his loser daughter had just walked 20 miles to claim her throne. I called Carla. We talked for an hour. By the time I hung up, I had a plan. A real plan, not a fantasy, not a dream. A plan. First, I would fix the Sunset Motor Lodge. I would hire contractors. I would buy new beds, new sheets, new windows. I would paint the walls. I would fix the sign. I would turn it into a home. Then I would do the same for the other 46 motels. One by one, state by state, I would turn them into shelters for runaway kids. Kids like me, kids with nowhere to go. Kids who needed someone to believe in them, and I would be that someone. I would be the person I never had. The sun was fully up now. Light streamed through the broken window. Dust danced in the air. And I, Amelia Rose Parker, sat on a bare mattress in an abandoned motel, and I felt something I hadn't felt in 16 years. Hope. My phone buzzed again. Another text from my dad. Gave your room to the new maid. She's sleeping in your bed. Hope you're having fun on the streets. I read the text. I felt the anger rise in my chest. But then I let it go. I breathed in, I breathed out, and I typed my final reply. I'm home. Then I blocked his number. I blocked Chad. I blocked Vanessa. I deleted every contact that had ever made me feel small. And I started to work. The first thing I did was call a contractor. A woman named Rosa. She showed up 3 hours later with a pickup truck full of tools and a smile that could light up a room. She looked at the motel. She looked at me. She said, "You sure about this, kid?" "I've never been more sure of anything," I said. She nodded. "Then let's get to work." We worked for 12 hours straight. Rosa fixed the windows. I swept the floors. She patched the roof. I painted the walls. We ordered pizza and ate it on the curb. She told me about her daughter, who was studying to be a nurse. I told her about my dad, who was studying to be nothing. By midnight, room 1 was livable. It wasn't pretty, but it had clean sheets, a working light, and a door that locked. Rosa left. I stood in the doorway and looked at my new home. It was small, it was humble, it was nothing like the Parker mansion. But it was mine. I lay down on the bed. The sheets smelled like laundry soap. The pillow was soft. The room was quiet. No yelling, no slamming doors, no footsteps outside my door waiting to punish me. Just silence. Beautiful, healing silence. I closed my eyes, and for the first time in 16 years, I slept without fear. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of birds. Real birds, not the fake ones my stepmom played on her phone to pretend she was a nature lover. Actual birds singing outside my window. I stretched, my feet still hurt, my legs were sore, but my heart felt light. I got up. I made coffee on a hot plate Rosa had left me. I stood at the window and watched the sunrise. It was even more beautiful than the one I saw on my walk. Because this one was mine. My phone rang. It was my lawyer. "Amelia," he said, "your father is trying to sue you. He's claiming you stole the idea for Echo from him." I laughed. "Let him try. I have all the code. I have the timestamps. I have Samuel's testimony from before he died. He doesn't have a case." "I know," my lawyer said, "but he's going to make a lot of noise. He's going to try to drag your name through the mud." "Let him," I said. "I've been in the mud my whole life. I'm not afraid of it anymore." We talked for a while, then I hung up and got back to work. Over the next few weeks, the Sunset Motor Lodge transformed. Rosa brought her whole crew. They fixed the plumbing, rewired the electricity, replaced the roof. I painted every room myself. Soft blues and warm yellows. Colors that felt like hugs. I bought new furniture from thrift stores. I found old lamps and rugs and pictures. I made each room different. Unique. A place where a kid could feel like they mattered. I put a sign on the door, "Sunset Home for kids who need one." The first guest arrived on a Tuesday. Her name was Lily. She was 14. She had run away from a foster home where the dad hit her. She had been sleeping in a bus station for 3 days. She walked into the lobby with wide eyes and dirty clothes and a backpack full of fear. "Is this really free?" she asked. "It's free," I said, "and it's yours for as long as you need it." She started to cry. I held her. I didn't say it's okay because it wasn't okay. I just held her, and I let her cry. That night, I made her dinner. Macaroni and cheese from a box. She ate 3 bowls. Then she fell asleep on the couch in the lobby. I covered her with a blanket and sat in a chair and watched her sleep. I thought about my dad. I thought about his text. "Have fun walking home, loser." I thought about my walk. The 20 miles, the bloody feet, the sunrise. And I thought about Lily, and the kids who would come after her, and the kids who would come after them. I didn't walk home. I built one. 3 months later, I got a letter. It was from my dad's lawyer, a cease and desist, a threat, a demand that I sign over the motels, the money, and the company, or face legal action. I read the letter, then I folded it into a paper airplane. I walked outside. The sun was setting over the Sunset Motor Lodge. The neon sign was fixed now. It glowed pink and orange against the darkening sky. I threw the paper airplane into the air. It flew for a moment, then it landed in a puddle. I smiled. Then I went inside to make dinner for Lily and the 3 other kids who had found their way to my door.